requesting that the general contractor submit a site use plan will give us a good idea of what somebody
Yeah,
ordering a contractor.
yeah, because they might say, you know what, we're gonna wanna block off the sidewalk, you know, and maybe take a parking lane of the street, or, you know, and maybe that requires a permit from the city or something.
Yeah, it might be different depending on which day too, you know,
Right.
like
Yeah.
most of the work's happening this back end, so we'll have that dumpster located back there, but 2 days, you know, next
You
week,
bet.
we're gonna need the dumpster out front because we're gonna be chucking stuff out the front door and those top windows and.
Right,
If you guys decide to proceed with the purchase of that, they're looking at purchasing the lots, and we've talked to Randy about this, to the north of the building. And if they even purchased one of those,
That gives
Oh,
a
just the empty lot right now?
yeah, it's an empty lot right now, that would,
yeah,
and I really don't think the city has any requirements, cause when Bill Teason was doing his building, which is the building to the south of Weir,
The old miners merchants?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, so he had his cones and he cordoned off whatever area of the street he needed, and they're
Yeah, okay.
pretty flexible.
Who owns the lot to the north right now?
It's a couple out of Washington.
They own both of them.
They
two
own two
lots
of them,
north,
yeah.
and then the dentist owns the third lot that's closest to the
Yeah,
dentist.
you could always just get a parking easement too from the owner since there's nothing on the lot right now. You know,
Oh.
while work's going on, they could just,
Yeah.
contractors can use this deal just to park their vehicles, you know.
Okay, I'll get
As
in
long as
touch
they're not
with
like
him.
staging any equipment or anything and you just, yeah, that's nothing new to stuff like this. If you got an empty lot,
Okay,
just getting written permission
Yeah,
from the
just
lot
get
owner to park
permission.
stuff, yeah.
okay, well, I'm in conversation with them anyway, so I'll reach out to them and then I'll send you that information.
and then on the roof, typical warranty for a new commercial roof is 20 years, that's kinda industry standard, and it's gonna be the most cost effective. If for some reason you guys wanted a longer warranty, just know that would probably increase the cost for bidding on that roofing project. So that's something you guys can think about if you
Yeah.
would
When you-
like the longer one.
When you guys get to designing the roof, I think the concept though was that an insulated new roof, good roof would bring value to the developer that would
Oh, yeah.
make them willing to pay more for the property. And, you know, the warranty, that's another one of those elements, but I really think, well, I don't know, but whatever would be recommended, I don't know that we'd want. But I do think we want it insulated, and when I tried to estimate, it's like, what R value am I gonna use? Well, so you want it insulated to where it's gonna,
And
To make the
that'll kind of
difference.
be part of the process going forward too. We'll take a good look at, you know, how much insulation
Mhm.
do we wanna have on the roof? Do we wanna have, you know, is it gonna be better for the architectural plans probably in the future to have a majority of that insulation in the attic cavity?
You
It
bet.
depends what we got to work
whatever you
with,
think
but,
makes the most sense.
yeah, and so a portion of that'll actually be addressed in the drawings for the roof replacement.
But if I were a developer, and I said, you know what, I get this property and it's got a high R value insulated roof, which will help me with loans and everything for energy efficiency. Or I'm gonna have to be the one that blows attic insulation, you know, we're just trying to make it easy. The whole point of this is to make this really attractive.
And it depends, a lot of that'll depend on the existing conditions too, and the coordination with the state historic preservation office. So
Yes,
there may not be much we can do at like the parapets to change those levels to put the additional roof insulation on the top. So that'll be something that's kind of taken into consideration during these assessments is how much wiggle room do we have
Yeah.
from the slope of the roof at the front parapet to the steps on that south side. You know, we
Right,
may
right.
only have enough room for like 4 inches of insulation
gotcha.
Oh my goodness.
to maximize it, so we don't have to
Have
impede
to-
those steps on the parapet.
Understood, I didn't think about that, but
Yeah.
I think you're probably looking at like 5 or 6 inches of insulation if you wanna get like an R30 or something.
Those two people need to be talking to each other.
Yeah,
Maybe 5 or 6
Yeah.
inches more there.
Yes.
They honestly do. I mean, it's because,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it's one of those things it's constant, you just wanna keep them updated, hey, this is what we found, and
Right,
with the way construction projects have been going lately, like, we've noticed that National Park Service too has been a lot more forgiving
yeah.
on these rehabilitation projects, just because they understand that with the cost of things, and if we don't give a little bit, these projects don't happen. So if they're too strict and they say, "Oh, you can't do that," then it's just like,
right.
well,
not gonna happen.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen with these kinds of funds then, so.
And the,
SHPO needs to be saying, when you drive down Main Street, this is what you're looking at.
Yeah.
We start looking at the alley, that's another issue that
Yeah,
right,
probably not gonna affect.
it's not a primary facade,
No.
so we should have, I think we should have some
the,
leeway
the south facade
on the alley side.
on the alley side, well, that was kind of one of the preliminary discussions I think they had with SHPO is why the first structural deal didn't really go through is because
She
SHPO,
didn't
ba-
wanna mess with the
SHPO,
south.
SHPO basically said if you do that, you will be voiding your tax credits. So
Yes,
that's how this
nothing-
came about.
You cannot see anything from, when I talked to, I can't think of her name, Natalie Tran?
Lindsay?
Lindsay, yeah.
Thank you. Like from the commemorative garden that's south of Myers and Merchants building, she said you can see everything, so nothing, none of the parapets or anything can be altered.
Yeah.
Really?
So,
Gotcha.
so that's why Randy was proposing that double slope roof that
Yep.
comes from both of the
Yeah,
parapets.
so there'll be some creative problem solving when we get to that point, but
Yep.
that's kind of why we're here today is to figure
Yeah.
out how much wiggle room we've got to work with and
Yeah.
what we can fit into that attic cavity, and that'll in turn dictate how much insulation we
You
put
might
on
do a
top.
combination, part of it's insulated, part of it's not.
Yeah.
Whatever makes the most sense.
I just say we fill that whole corner with spray foam and it's done. Just a big giant block, and you know you can carve out a little maze through it, and it'll be a playhouse. It'll be
There
fun.
you go, now that's all like that.
Okay.
Sure.
Developer will love that.
Keep things
Give me
moving
things
here.
moving.
The project delivery method is well defined in the contract. We've been talking about the RFQ. We're doing an alternative delivery method because a contractor has to do some stabilization work just for it to be safe for abatement. Communication standards, this is really important for Brad and I as the project goes forward. Who do you want to receive project updates? Who do you want to be the primary contact for questions? And who wants to be involved in owner architect meetings?
I think Teresa should be she's the project manager,
Okay.
but as far as, you know, we would wanna be involved in owner meetings and, you know. But Teresa as well, in other words, Teresa needs to be involved in everything, and,
But as far as making decisions, I can't do that for the county, we'd have to bring it to
Right.
these guys,
and it
so.
never hurts if you're gonna send Teresa an update, just copy us,
Okay.
especially if you're doing it by email.
Mhm.
And are Fridays good meeting days for you guys? Cause I didn't look at the dates on your proposed,
I had proposed exclusively Fridays for meetings.
okay, is that okay with you guys? We just have to, they have limited time, like, I'm sorry for taking your time,
No, that's fine.
We're willing to schedule other
we just have to
times.
schedule it.
Yeah.
There's
Especially on
another
this
time that works
project,
better for you, but
because we're
Fridays
looking at
kind of work
timeframes here.
fine if it's all right with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We're pushing the limits.
guys, that's your theory, or that's your
Free
philosophy.
Saturdays from 10 to midnight.
I'm not.
You're
We're
not.
pushing the limit by
I'm in
not, by
bed,
only
then.
But
doing
we
it on
have to be in
Friday.
a bar.
It's next week.
I mean, it's
So
public.
you guys have lunch in there, cheese and crackers. My husband,
Cheryl.
Last, most important question about contact information, who to address and send invoices to.
Is it okay if she sends them to me and then I send them
Yep,
to
I would
Chris?
prefer that. Remember, we talked about
Yes.
your interface with Chris,
Yes.
and you have to review them. You're actually considered in our process, you would be the department head that recommends payment.
That'd be great to me.
Okay, send to Teresa, but should they be addressed to Metro South County?
Yes.
Yeah. And let's talk about, do you typically send them via mail, but can you send them email? Can you do both? I mean,
We can do both.
yeah, and that way Teresa can get it in advance.
Now, this is what, again?
Invoices.
Okay.
Well, so why are we doing a mail copy? Cause I don't want duplicates.
Well, do you wanna just do it?
Is it okay if we just do email?
That's
Is that
fine
okay
with
with you
me.
guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's,
It's,
yeah,
it's faster and then I can, Chris is really efficient with email, so I can just, send it to her and we're working closely, so.
all right,
If that's okay with you.
it is.
I just don't want like Bonity to get the mailed copy and then submit it to Chris and then and Chris,
No, I think it
No,
adds for
email.
confusion, but we don't want,
Does,
it may not hurt if you send it to, copy one of us, or, we don't want you to be a single point of failure, in other words, and this is not anything to do with
Oh,
Teresa.
gotcha, yeah.
This is just like, well, we haven't been paid in 3 months. It's like, well, I sent the invoices to such and such, and, oh, that's right.
So would you want that second contact to be you, Bob, or Chris? Our accounting, our CFO?
I would prefer it be me.
Okay,
Are you reliable?
I don't know, you tell me.
I
would
think,
that be okay to copy
Yes.
him on invoices and me?
Yes, so we will address invoices to Muscle Shell County. We will
Actually, it's gonna make it really complicated. Copy Chris, but if you can also copy me,
Okay,
that just keeps me in. Chris will act on it, but she'll get with, but you're the one, And if, it shouldn't be a problem if it's all email, it's just, and that way I know it's hanging out.
Everybody sees it, and then when it gets forwarded on, you can also see that too, as long as it's a reply all kind of chain.
Yep.
That's typically our standard. Whoever's copied in that email, when you reply, it should always be reply all, so everybody on that email maintains the thread.
Well, and actually, you could copy those 2 guys too, if you wanted, but the idea is that, we're kind of aware of what's coming, but we're not gonna sign anything until Teresa says it's okay to sign,
alright,
so.
okay, that covers the question about invoices. To Brad's point about communication standards with High Plains, the project team for High Plains is, Eric Schmidt is the principal in charge, I am the project manager, and Brad Kaler is, serving as kind of architect 1. Please keep all of us CC'd, all of us, you can address them to me, but keep Eric and
Sure.
Brad CC'd on everything.
Okay,
And then, since Jim Schilke is our consultant, if you have a question specifically for Jim, still copy the High Plains team, cause just like
Okay.
Bob was saying, that way we know what's going on.
okay,
So you don't have any problem with us talking to him direct?
No, you've worked, as long as we are in
You're
the
in the loop.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely.
And he'll do the same on his
Yeah,
end on
that's
that
good.
side too. It just, like I said, that transparency, make sure nobody's missing some major conversation that happened along the way.
Right.
okay. Well, like this last week when I talked to him, we needed to make a decision about hazmat, and I just needed his, okay, how do we do this? So if I'm having a call with him, how would I incorporate, just,
I think shoot us an email with a summary of the call.
okay, sorry.
So our next step, Brad and I are gonna go over to the Weir building kind of for the rest of the day. Points B, C, D, and E is just kind of going over what happens next per our schedule. But really the next thing that we want to schedule with you guys is the owner review of the preliminary work plan. So I have it tentatively scheduled for Friday, January 17th. I would like that to remain our target date. It's not a super long timeline and it does include some holidays, but it shouldn't take us and Jim Schilke long to come together with a preliminary plan.
Do we need to block out a little more time? How long do you think that'll take?
Probably an hour.
So maybe we need to block out,
So
pick whatever time on the agenda that's a
Okay.
full hour?
I'll get with Bonnie
Okay.
and coordinate these, and then I'll get, and we'll just schedule all 3 of those.
Of January,
Yep.
I won't be here, so you can use my time.
Okay.
I won't be in Puerto Rico.
Oh, yay, for you!
Authorized by your,
I think.
Have you informed Tracy of this?
Yeah,
I
I told her before she hired me, cause I already had it
Okay, so
scheduled.
I'll get those 3 times that you have in gray scheduled with them, and we'll plan an hour for each of those, and then I'll get that back to you in my email.
Sounds good. Any questions from you guys?
I got a bazillion, but you're gonna have to just keep going before
Okay.
it makes any sense.
That's it with our agenda.
Okay, well, like, we have other things that you had mentioned, you wanted to be sure we're in the RFQ, but that's a little preliminary right now, so I'll just keep that, I'll send it in that email, so as a placeholder, and, I won't put any detail, I'll just say, let's discuss that, is that all right?
That's fine.
Okay. Hey,
excellent.
down South Hut.
I really appreciate this. This is very good.
Yeah,
Yes, I really love the agenda, thank you for the coordination,
absolutely.
and thank you for sharing your time. appreciate it, we will be.
That's alright. If I don't get through everything today, I'll call you guys later or
And
something.
Rita only comes in here and asks for money.
They just hold up their funding.
Oh, so you need less time with him, so you need me to be verbose or
Yeah.
something?
It's nice meeting you, Mr.
Nice meeting you too.
Thanks again, nice meeting
I'm
you.
gonna go get them in the building and.
And I got the insurance
Crack the doors.
Awesome.
certificate, yeah.
Okay, and I'll get with you on those dates,
Yeah,
but, and we'll get on the schedule,
okay.
so we don't steal your time.
Productive morning.
Thank you guys, have a great weekend.
Same to you.
You.
I need more funding. No.
Of course, no problem.
Mike, I cannot believe you told your wife that it was today. It's next week,
This is a Friday, isn't it?
Sunday, or the 20th.
I'm gonna be gone these Fridays.
Okay,
So, you know,
okay.
give you a little more future
Well,
I
thank
just
you.
wanted to get it right.
outlook.
Let's see. So, I went to the Southern Ag Research Center Advisory Committee meeting on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We are in their area, and we have no one on their advisory committee.
And who was that, the Southern?
Southern Agricultural Research Center.
Is that down here at Huntley?
It's Huntley, yeah.
Yeah.
Golden Valley didn't have one for a long time. We just got a guy from Golden Valley that's now sitting on that committee. I would really like to have someone from Muscle Shell so they can kind of represent our interests as ag producers. If you guys,
I never knew we even had to have one.
we don't have to, but
Nice.
really we should have
We
two.
might benefit from it, you think?
I think so.
Who would you recommend?
Oh, Mike, I was kind of thinking of you. You got.
Yeah, there you go.
Honestly, I kinda was.
He's not doing a thing.
If he's not busy, you know.
Yeah.
No, but I'm not sure yet. I was gonna ask you guys if you
You
had some
thinking
thoughts.
about that?
No, I have been. And I talked to Kent. He's the head
Yeah.
researcher there, and the problem with it is up here we have a lot of, you know, most of our guys that grow stuff, a lot of them grow feed for their cattle. You know, it's forage based a lot more,
Yeah.
and they don't have any cattle there. They shut their feedlot down in like the 70s, I think. And but
Kenrick Williams? What's his name?
can't remember his last
The
name.
Kent
right now.
that
He's been there quite a while. Kent McVeigh.
okay.
Um, but, you know, we haven't had a person on that committee for quite a long time, and they do have, you know, significant sway on what research is being done there, and they try to do, you know, very practical research as far as stuff that can, you know, help producers.
So is that a way of keeping us up to speed on?
What it does is it kind of, it tweaks their, all of their
A research project.
research projects, yeah, for this kind of crop and that kind of crop and all those kind of things, so. It's pretty, yeah, it's actually very important.
I would say it is, and like right now they're doing a lot of stuff on, you know, cash crop, small grains and like canola and things like that, because that's, you know.
That's what they need down there in the Yellowstone Valley. We're not here, we're not there.
Right,
We just need,
but we
need some good feed here, we just don't have it.
right, and we haven't been represented on that board, on that advisory committee, and they do listen.
They do excellent work down there though.
Yeah, no, they do very good work. I just hope that if we can get somebody, then maybe we can get some work that's a little more relevant to
us.
producers in this area.
So who's active in this area that might be interested in this?
Good question.
Everyone I can think of is busy that I can tell they're just gonna tell me no. But I mean, I'll still ask people, but,
Yeah.
and I'll still go to the meetings, but my deal is I'm kind of the same way as I am on like fair board. I'm not a voting member.
Right.
I can't be a voting member, so.
Yeah.
So you couldn't be on that board because you're the extension agent?
Yeah. I can.
Is that hard law, or is that just how Montana State wants it?
I think that's kind of how Montana State
And
wants
maybe it's a
it.
liability concern.
And
or
look, I mean,
something.
I still voiced my opinions on Wednesday and told them like, hey, like my producers, this maybe the reason none of them are here. I mean, it's kind of a cyclical thing. It's like
Okay,
It's
yeah.
hard to convince people to come here because you guys don't do any research that's super relevant, but you don't do any research that's really relevant because
Because nobody's there,
nobody's
yeah.
there. So,
You know, Palin is a name that I'd throw out there.
who's that?
Palin? Anyway, we'll talk about this later. You know,
Just
they
that's
do,
right out there.
well, I'll tell you, you know, Mr. Palin, the old man, God, he's in a tractor every day, plowing something. And they do an excellent job of feed, but they could definitely use some help,
Yeah.
all of us. They
So who
do
you got
such an
in
excellent
Golden
job
Valley?
performing that,
Maybe he could represent Muscle Shell also.
Oh, he's a younger
I
guy.
don't know who you got in Muscle.
I went to college with him.
Really?
Can't remember his name right now, but yeah, he's a younger guy. He did some work with MSU and then he went back home and he kinda got roped into it through that. I don't have the whole, I have the minutes, but, or I have the agenda, but I don't have the minutes on me right now, looks like. I can get that name too, but we'd still need someone from Muscle Shell, I think.
Yeah, probably.
Cause like that, there is a lot more small grain stuff in Golden Valley than there is Muscle Shell, I would say, so.
Yeah.
It'd be a really good thing to do, I think, cause there's millions of, you know, like, on research, I think the Ag College spends 54 million a year at MSU.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you gotta take advantage of these resources for producers in the
you
area.
just got 100,000, would be happy.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's, I think it's important, you guys have, you know, you said
Yeah.
Palin.
No, it's good, glad you mentioned it.
And like I said, I still voice my opinion, but it'd be nice to have producers behind me also, so my Golden Valley guy, my Muscle Shell guy, and then, you know, work
Yeah.
with them. Cause like I said, I can't really vote, I can't be a chairman or vice chair or anything like that,
So, all you do is sweep up.
so, yeah. I just don't have any voting rights, I just say
Yeah.
what I think.
And they can take it or leave it.
Yeah, it's kinda like 4-H council and fair board meetings. So, I think that's an important thing that I am trying to get done, trying to come up with ideas on who would do that, cause I mean, somebody that put a lot of thought into it and put a lot of work into it could really have that research station doing stuff that
Yeah.
could make some good changes. And like I said, with the resources they have, they're here to help ag producers in this area, and we're in their area, so.
Right.
Anybody on the hoots?
Mike, would you be interested? You do a lot of dryland farming, and that's
Yeah.
extremely important here too.
I'd say I might be interested, but I'm gonna look for somebody else too. Yeah.
And you've got this world of knowledge about dryland farming.
Yeah, but I forgot most of it.
Well, it'll
Yeah.
come back to you. Get in a new tractor.
Well, and they have about 450 acres of irrigated right there
Yeah.
around the research center. Then they do the dry land they do on like off-site
Yeah.
plots that I don't know if they rent from people or they get donated to them or what, but I was trying to talk to the guy about doing some cattle research, but he wasn't that interested. He was,
Well, I am
It's a
familiar
lot.
with irrigated also.
yeah,
We just don't have any right now.
yeah,
No,
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah. So like as far as their farm area goes, it does I mean, Yellowstone's a wider valley, but it's gonna be similar soil types, definitely similar climate, you know.
Yeah, no, it's good. Good concern. We'll wrestle with that.
Alright. I have been trying to figure out what the best way for the 4-H, the FFA, and the Fair Board to collaborate is, because here's the thing. Right now, from what my leaders are telling me, I wasn't around for fair last year, so this is secondhand. Basically what it sounds like is, in some ways, 4-H is providing the whole scaffolding for the fair and the awards and the, you know, events, and FFA's using that, but like I was talking to one of my leaders and they're doing all the awards through 4-H and everything else for the whole fair. And I in no way don't want FFA to take advantage of that. It should be all three of those entities working together to, I'm not certain how to do that yet.
So how, does it depend on the event? But, cause I really don't know the nuts and bolts of what each one does, but is there, are these guys maybe taking on roles that the fair board should take on, or vice versa, or, I mean, I guess maybe from an organizational standpoint?
Are they letting 4-H do everything?
Basically, huh?
That's what it sounds like you just said, is it, but then again, well, what is it that they're doing that the fair board should be doing?
I didn't mean so I don't think any one
maybe-
of them should
okay.
be doing it by themselves. I'm not saying the fair board should be putting on horse events for the kids down at the fairgrounds, or that they should be doing all the awards, but the fair board can be the what do you want to say, the middle entity that kind of allows the FFA and 4-H to work together better than maybe has been happening.
I got you.
Because like, look, when it was a small FFA chapter and 4-H had more older kids and stuff, it wasn't as big of a deal, you know, have some FFA kids come down, but whereas most of the older like, I think like 90% of my kids are under 10 years old in 4-H.
Yeah,
You know?
something.
And so when a lot of them are going to FFA, which is fine, I'm not trying to, you know, say do one or the other, but if that's the case, then the fair can't be fully in the hands of 4-H because we're getting our support cut
I
out from
would
under
agree,
us.
Gotcha.
I would agree with that.
You know?
And the two Bryans they talk about that very issue.
Yeah.
What about them all meeting together?
Well, right. Because look, I mean, the 4-H is my responsibility as far as the program in the county.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, if I want the kids to do what they want to do and what is beneficial to them, and if that's FFA for them, that's great.
So what you need to kind of start with, I'm now thinking of nuts and bolts. These are the types of events and programs we have.
Yeah.
How does each one of these interact, and then maybe have set up maybe a meeting or a series of meetings to form sort of an understanding of a collaboration.
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to start. It's just even
I
like
would recommend that.
One from each thing, one
Call your
voice from each thing.
FFA.
Yeah.
Advisor up here at Roundup High School, and everybody get together, and they should be a part